Welcome to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast, where we talk about all things money, mindset and business with real life stories and real life people. Let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Money, Mindset and Business podcast. Today we are talking to Kay, who is a member of Team Altitude that I am in. So let's get into it. Kay, hi, morning, how are you?
Morning, Leah. I'm great, thanks. It's great to be here.
Awesome. So, Kay, please introduce yourself and tell everybody what it is that you do.
So I am Dewar and I support online coaches and consultants to properly utilise systems and structures within their business so that they are focused essentially on the right activities for their business. They're not wasting time and effort. They know that they are efficient every week and their time is spent on activities that are going to drive value.
Awesome. So what does that actually look like for those that don't quite understand what systems and workflows are within a business? What does that look like?
It's essentially the steps that are involved in making your business happen. So the steps that you need to take to get a client into your business, to service that client and to make sure that they're happy at the other end. And it's doing that in the least steps possible, the least amount of time and effort possible, so that you're not, as I say, wasting your time and things that you don't need to be.
Awesome. Sounds good. So we're here today to talk about your money mindset journey. So if you don't mind, would you mind sharing where it is you are now with your money mindset journey, like in life and in business?
I would say it's still a work in progress. I think it's probably something that is always going to be a work in progress. You're constantly sort of learning and being aware of more that's going on around you. But I'm definitely in a different place to I was, say, 6+ years ago. I am more aware of words and things that people say that would previously probably have been a trigger, if you like. I'm much more open to the sort of discussions around money, about asking for money in my business, about all of those things that you would have been a lot more wary of and a lot more potentially scared to do previously.
How would you say that your money mindset journey so far has served you in your business and in your life? What have been the biggest changes that you've seen?
I would say it is around that ability to have the discussion around it and be open to it. Certainly in business, obviously you as a business owner, you're asking people for money, you're giving people your money to learn and develop and grow constantly. So it's not having those barriers to ask for that or to be willing to spend or invest the money to get you further forward and where you want to be. It's not constantly sort of second guessing if you should or shouldn't allow yourself to do those things.
Awesome. I love it. So if we cast your mind back to not just 6 years ago, but to where you feel like your money story originally started, what would that look like?
I think it's definitely your upbringing, what your parents say, what your family says, all those people around you that are having those discussions and are mindful of it. Don't speak about money in front of other people. You can't talk in front of the kids. You can't, we can't spend that, that's too much. Or, don't have that one, that's more expensive. All those things that are just part of life that you just sort of take for granted as you're there. But now looking back, you realise actually what barriers they have been creating for you.
Yeah, so what would you say, if you could put into words what your upbringing was like around money, what would you say that was?
If I could put it into words, it would be sort of fraught with barriers and not that ability to realise that by spending, by investing, it then brings other opportunities and other benefits.
So did you have like a comfortable upbringing? Was it a struggle, or what did it look like?
It was a sort of mid-road, if you like, upbringing. Comfortable in term in some aspects, struggles in some aspects. Had parents that striked in the 80s, different challenges through their sort of work experience and their environments. Obviously, as a child, an element of that's shielded from you. You don't fully appreciate it and understand it. But yeah, it wasn't that it was we weren't held back, if you like. We were given opportunities to go to university. They worked hard and did what they needed to do to get us there.
Awesome. Sounds good. Sounds good. So cast your mind back to 6 years ago. What was it that made you realise you had like a money block, money story that wasn't quite serving you?
I think it was potentially like where I was in business, or where I was trying to get to in business. I wasn't getting there in the way I would like. So I did a lot of mindset work, general mindset work, which then led into the money mindset work. And it was just that awareness that things had to change. I'd went through the stereotypical route of leave school, go to university, get a job, stay in that job for life. That's you that'll be you comfortable. And obviously that changed, and I came into this business world, and I knew that what had got me there wasn't going to get me to where I needed to be in this space. And there was obviously all of those changes around money that had to happen. The whole like don't talk about your salary, don't ask for a raise, like all those things that are kind of inbred in you as you're going through that career journey. Obviously then are completely different in this business space. You do need to be talking about money, you do need to be asking people for their money, you do need to be having those conversations and being aware of what money is going to allow you to do.
Yeah. So what was your career before you started your own business?
I was in corporate. I was doing similar to what I do now. It was operational improvement, but in large organisations.
Did you enjoy it when you were doing it?
The majority of the time I did enjoy it. There was obviously the general sort of corporate struggles and the politics and all the different challenges that come with a large workforce. But yeah, on the whole, it was an enjoyable learning experience.
So what would you say was the what made you decide to go self-employed?
I would say it was those challenges. I'd went through the phases of climbing the ladder, if you like. I'd got to a good position, but it was stalled by too many people having to make decisions. You're not actually getting the changes that you knew needed, were needed to make the difference because of the hierarchies and the different approvals that were required. And I'd had my two children at that point as well, and I was very rarely seeing them because of the hours that were involved. So things had to change, and it felt like the right time. I was ready for that journey to go a different way.
So I mean, obviously, when you come out of like a corporate role, there's a massive drop in income.
Mm.
How did you kind of navigate that in terms of right? Because I'm sure there'll be somebody listening here today who's in a corporate role. They're like, I really want to start this entrepreneurial journey. How did you navigate that drop in income? Because obviously it's going to be huge to begin with, because you don't go from it earning whatever it was that you were earning, 30, 50, 60, 70K, straight into that when you go self-employed. You have to build up to that. So how did you navigate that?
I was fortunate to have savings from the employment that got me through the initial months, and it's definitely that change in mindset again. Like, so you're of the awareness that you no longer have that money hitting your account every single month. You don't have that cushion, so you do know that you need to go and find that. You need to look for the avenues that are going to open up these money making opportunities for you, and also the belief that things will happen. You will find these options and these opportunities.
Do you think while you were going through that transition, how you lived your life changed because you didn't obviously have that recurring income coming in? Were there things that you cut back on? And if so, what were the things that you cut back on?
Yeah, naturally there were some cutbacks in the sort of nice to haves, if you like, the meals out initially, the holidays and things. It's not a case of completely cutting it out. It was just a case of being more mindful again. Like you would think about it before you did it, whereas you would have done it a lot more freely without thinking when you knew you had that backup salary hitting your account every month.
Yes. How long do you think it took you to get from obviously having zero income in your business to a level that you were comfortable to start essentially living your life? I wouldn't say like you were, because obviously as an entrepreneur, your life is not the same as when you're an employee. Because as a business owner, I know myself that um, the business becomes your life and your life becomes the business. But
Yeah.
you also obviously have your personal life alongside that, that's intertwined with it all. So how long into your entrepreneurial did you find that everything started to kind of go, right, I've got this security level now, I'm comfortable and I've got enough income coming in and I could start redoing all these meals out, these holidays and all this sort of stuff? How long did it take?
Um, it wasn't quick. I would say it is a good 2 to 3 years for me before I really felt comfortable. And I think there's a lot of acceptance in that as well. It's not just a case of, oh, you're now all of a sudden making that money again and you're comfortable. It's more of an acceptance of, as you say, this new life. It's not that you've all of a sudden went back to how your life used to be, but you then start accepting all the other sort of benefits that come along with it. The flexibility to go a walk in the middle of the day if you want, or the flexibility to go to parents' afternoon or go out for a coffee in the middle of the day, whatever it might be. It's just that acceptance of your new way of living and your new way of working.
Did you find it a struggle at all when you first kind of went self-employed to obviously you're talking about acceptance there, um, but it's acceptance doesn't come overnight. Was there an element of struggle within those first few years to go, God, I could really do with a holiday, but I don't have the money right now? How did you navigate all of that, kind of those emotions, those feelings?
That was a huge piece for me. Overall, like I'm a natural sort of introvert, if you like. So that whole piece in terms of putting yourself out there, going to networking events, all the pieces that come with this entrepreneurial journey were a massive struggle initially. So it was definitely a huge learning curve and a huge hill to climb, if you like, to get me to a place where I was happy to have the right conversations I needed to have. I was happy to put myself into spaces that I needed to put myself into. It was definitely a massive learning and growth experience for me personally.
So what did you do? What were your kind of your strategies, your systems and workflows that you did to get to where you are right now to navigate that journey? Because I myself, I'm an introvert, and I've gone on a whole journey to feel comfortable to come on and record a podcast. When I first started back in 2020, never would have done this. The thought of just talking live on a podcast to somebody filled me with the most dread in the world. However, now, fine, because of all the work I've done. So I'm interested to know what work is it that you've done to get to where you are now, to be able to openly talk online, go to networking, and push your business forward.
So there's been a lot of different things. At the start, I carried out a lot of training around sort of basic business understanding. I then went into having a coach. I've pretty much had a coach in some form or mentor ever since. So probably about the 6 month point, I first got my first coach. And as I say, I've had a coach or a mentor in some shape ever since. and then just lots of different training and learning around mindset, around money mindset, around business development and growth specifically. Loads of different learning. It's just a constant cycle in terms of learning and putting myself in a place where I'm surrounded by other people that I can have those conversations with, get the support from, get myself through any barriers that I've got to keep me pushing and getting to where I need to be.
So do you have a current daily practice to kind of get you in the right mindset, or are you just there anyway?
No, it is still a work in progress, but there are some practices that I will do daily. I make exercise a priority, clear the head and get you feeling sort of good mentally, physically. So that feeds through to the mental space. Reading books is something that I prioritise, either reading a book or listening to a podcast, and getting that mindset boost, if you like, from inspirational people and inspirational words that are constantly keeping you moving forward and keeping you motivated to do more.
Awesome. So would you say you exercise and read daily?
Yeah.
So tell me, what's your exercise regime? What does it consist of? I can imagine it swaps from one thing to another, obviously, because we've got different parts of our body to work on. But a typical day, what does a typical day look like for Kay?
So a typical day starts with either a run or a walk, getting the fresh air and the movement in early, and then generally 3 times a week I'll do some strength training as well in the gym. Then there'll be potentially some other activities added in on top of that, depending on how the week goes. But those, the walk to start the day or the run, and the 3 strength are the sort of non-negotiables, if you like.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I mean, to be fair, I mean my children have gone back to school this week, and I've missed the walk to and from school.
Yeah.
Because it sets me up for my day massively. Just having that, probably about half an hour all in all, there and back.
I know,
Definitely good.
I know you need it, don't you? Get the fresh air and the legs stretched, and it does set you up for the day.
It does, it does. So if there was anybody listening here today that is, say, in a corporate role and is currently starting a business on the side, what's the best advice you could give somebody around taking that leap?
Best advice, it would probably be, if you've got that urge to live life differently, then definitely take the jump. But it will be a roller coaster. That's not just a stereotypical thing that you see about business being a roller coaster. It is up and it is down, but it's worth it to have the learning, the growth opportunities, and the ability to create a working and life environment that works for you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if I kind of tried to go back into corporate now, I don't think I could, because I don't think I'm employable, because I've created my life and my business around my life, which for me, like you, I've got kids, so a lot of my life revolves around their school, their after school activities, and all this sort of stuff. So would you say that when you become an entrepreneur, it's important to understand what it is that you want from it in terms of life as well as business?
Yes, I think they're very, very linked. And it's also that awareness that it's not going to be something that just clicks into place and stays that way. It's an ever evolving cycle and piece of work, essentially, for you to mold as you grow, as your business grows, as your family life changes, it's never going to just be static. So have that awareness that it's an ever-changing piece is what I would say as well.
Awesome. So would you say that your, say, working day now compared to what it was like when you first started, how does it differ?
It is it's similar in terms of the core working hours that I do. I do still do that. It's mainly around school hours. I would say I've got better boundaries now in terms of when I switch off, what I do say yes to and no to. Obviously at the start you're trying to find your feet, you're trying to find the right places for you to be, the right people for you to speak to, and that involves potentially going to events at night or events at the weekend and doing things that maybe don't actually make you happy and maybe don't actually fit in with your life. So I would say as you evolve through the journey, you're much more comfortable in actually saying, no, I don't need to do all those things. I can say no to these things and still have it work for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, would you say that at this point that you're at now that you're earning as much as you were in your corporate role?
Not consistently. Some months, yes, it's there, but not always consistently. There's still not that consistency that I had, obviously, knowing that
Yeah.
the salary was dropping every month.
So
But
how do you navigate that? Because I mean, it's normal in business to have kind of the up and down months. How are you currently navigating the swings and roundabouts of business ownership in terms of ensuring that you've got enough to live your life? Because obviously we all start business to generate income, to take income out of the business. So I'm just curious as to how you navigate those peaks and troughs.
I think it's just when the change and the transition happened, and I did get to that place that I was in a life that I was not having all the expenditure, then I've obviously realised along the way that I didn't actually need a lot of what was there. So it's just about, again, adapting and adjusting to what I do actually want at this point in my life now. And so it's not as potentially grand as I thought it was when I was in corporate and you were surrounded by that belief again that you should have the fancy car and you should have all these things. When you actually take the step back and think about what it is that you do actually want, then you've got enough to allow me to do that.
Do you know what? I absolutely love that, and that's so true, because I think as generally as human beings, we're always comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh well, XYZ's got an XYZ car. I want one of those.
Mm.
But you've got to asking your question. You want one, but do you really need one? Is it going to make your life any different by having that particular car or that particular bag or whatever it is that excites you?
Yeah.
It does kind of. I mean, I've seen it myself that the reevaluation of what's important to invest my money in has completely changed. So in terms of you've changed on what's important to you for you to spend your money on. Would you say that you have kind of like a money management technique? So you know how much you need per month to whatever it is that you want to do. So you've got those peak months and then you've got those trough months. Do you pay yourself the same every month? Or do you give yourself more and then keep some back for the trough months? How is it that you work it?
No, I do just pay myself the same amount every month. And that is at a level that is sufficient. And then obviously the peak months then allow that to build up in the business and allow me to then invest again at points that I feel that I need another learning opportunity or I need some support in the business to take me to that next level. And it's that constant sort of up level to make sure that I'm continuing to grow.
Have you given yourself a pay rise recently at all or not?
No, I haven't actually.
Would you consider giving yourself a pay rise?
Yes, it's definitely something I would consider.
Because obviously we're in charge of what's going on in our businesses because we're the business owners, and I was just because obviously when we're employees we get used to just being paid a certain wage, but obviously as business owners, as our business grows and our income grows, we are well within our rights to take more.
Yeah.
If we want it. So what would it be? What would trigger you to want to take more? Would it be a deserving, or you want to buy something, or what would it be?
I think for me it's I obviously look at everything in a very sort of logical sense, in a very analytical, number-driven sense. So it would be seeing that I've had that consistency. If I can see that I've had X amount over a sustained period, then I would be comfortable to up that, knowing that it's therefore a high probability that that's going to continue.
Very analytical. As a finance person, that makes complete sense to me. But say this is like a imaginary situation. You want to do something for fun. You don't have the money in your personal bank, but there's the money in the business. Would you take it?
Yes, if I was comfortable that there was enough there to still allow the business to have what it needs for X amount of months, and I knew that whatever the thing I wanted to do was going to give me enough sort of benefit and joy, then yeah, I would do it.
I like that. That's a good answer. So before we kind of close off, what are your biggest takeaways on your entrepreneurial journey so far around the whole money mindset part of it?
Biggest takeaway would be that openness to invest, knowing that it's going to come back to you. Anything you're putting out in your business should be that investment to allow you to grow yourself personally and allow yourself to achieve more for yourself and the business. So it's about that ability to give the money out to allow you to have more coming back to you.
That's great advice. Great advice. I think from the ladies and people I speak to, so many are very wary about making that initial first large investment in support. So that's some really good advice, and I liked that you said you took on your first coach at 6 months. That's very uncommon, I would say, for somebody in that first year to make that investment in a coach and a mentor to support them on their journey. So I'm really glad that you said that, because it's very rare.
You do need that space to have those conversations and to change your sort of or move yourself forward more quickly.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thank you very much, Kay.
Thank you.
Awesome chatting to you.